Today's video will be on how to grow and maintain capital, as well as how executing in the right conditions will greatly benefit you. Now I'm going to look at Forex Factory because this is how we're going to frame our week. The first thing that catches my eye is CPI. This is because I know it's a big economic driver, and the true weekly expansion does not occur until CPI hits. And I'll show you what this looks like on the chart, but now that you know that, we could start thinking about how we could wait to trade until CPI and not waste so much capital on Monday and Tuesday. Now, looking over here at this chart, I'll show you what I mean. If you look at Monday, we have quite a tight range right here, and yes, there is some Monday expansion, but it never reaches an obvious draw. Okay, same thing with Tuesday. Okay, have a ton of consolidation, this random move during 9:30, and then doesn't hit those equal highs either. You can see this whole week is just a consolidated Monday and Tuesday. That's because smart money is staying back. They're not going to use their large amount of capital until they know what is going on with CPI, a large economic driver, as I said. Think like a professional for a second. If you're trading $10,000, hypothetically, would you take these weaker setups over here where you're not for sure if price will trade up to its main draw? Whereas if you immediately look over here to CPI, you could see this whole day was trending towards our draw, these highs. Let me show you what it looks like from a daily and weekly standpoint. Okay, going to the daily, yes, there's a lot of chop, but let me point out what we're looking at. Monday right here, delivering bullishly. However, we still have these highs. It never, sorry, let me get rid of that. Never hit these highs, never hit these highs up here. So there's a clear draw. And Wednesday comes down and takes out Tuesday's low right here. We have a weekly volume imbalance right here. So price is obviously still bullish. When we see that wick come down here, even if the candle's red or black in this instance, a bearish looking candle, we can still anticipate that the daily expansion is going to come up to the obvious draw. Okay, we're in a weekly PD array and we have all this buy side. There's no reason to be going short. Okay, and now on a weekly standpoint, same thing. We have a weekly fair value gap right here. Yes, we broke down below it before, but it got reinstated. We're using it once again. There's tons of highs right here, right? There's no reason not to be going long in here. Now, looking at our setups, I'm going to be looking for some kind of setup that's in a discount. And honestly, almost all of these setups are going to be in a discount. However, I'm not trying to buy above a new high like this. I'm not trying to buy above a new high. I'm trying to find a setup where I'm going to have a PD array, a higher time frame PD array that supports my lower time frame entry. So this was the first setup that I got. We had this 5-minute gap, as well as obviously this 15-minute, but the 5 minutes a little bit more obvious in here. Our first setup that we saw was this inversion. Now, what I really like about this setup is going to be this internal high and the lack of fair value gaps in here. What that's telling me is this was a really weak run, and I know it's very vulnerable that we're going to come up and take out those highs. Okay, once we enter right here, because it did not give a retracement, that's okay. We only need it to close up above that fair value gap to create an inversion. Right, we have our setup right here, straight up to these highs. If you miss that, we also have another setup. Now, I did talk about discount, but this setup is just as good. Why? Because it's very likely we're going to run through these highs. And once we're long and we're in that momentum, we're just going to run our stop loss to break even. That's going to protect us. 2 setups right here. Okay, you miss the first one, take the second. Okay, what happens if you miss those 2? Okay, we trade into discount right here once again. There's really no reason to be entering up here. Like, I see no setups aside from this fair value gap. But obviously, like, we just broke this high and made a new high in this New York AM session. There's no reason you should be getting long right there. Wait for price to accumulate so you have all these highs. And the first thing I see right here is going to be this fair value gap. Another setup. Okay. And now you could be, swinging for the stars up here, or you could just be taking profit, just these 1 to 3s, 1 to 4s, easy. I believe there is one more setup in here. It's going to be a little weaker because it's during lunch, but you have all this built up highs. No reason to get long in here at all until we have this inversion that allows us to target this high. Okay. So we had an obvious draw and it was hit, and that's what you're going to see from CPI. The week did not start until CPI hit, and that's really how you have to frame your week and how you should be using your capital. And like I said, you had 2 setups in one leg. Okay, what happens if you enter one entry? Okay, move your stop loss to break even. Enter this one again. Just keep riding it up. As it's working out, instead of going and spending your capital on Monday and Tuesday, add a little extra size on those setups that count so that you're really sizing in, and that even if you're getting these 1 to 3s, 1 to 4s, it ends up being like you can make that a 1 to 8, a 1 to 10 just by moving your stop loss a certain way. Okay. Hi guys, I hope you really gained something from this. I know when I first started, I was a big overtrader, very impulsive, and until I learned how to trade like a professional, how to take this seriously and trade on high probability days, that's when I truly found consistency. And you really don't realize how much you could make until you start realizing how to manage your positions, how to save your capital, and yeah, there's a huge level that you still have to break through. And I'll tell you, the start right now is choosing your battles, choosing what days you're going to trade, how much you're going to put size on. And really, it's kind of obvious you have to follow these red folder days, especially after CPI, NFP, FOMC. Trade the end of the week and see what you could do. That's my biggest advice for you. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you later.